what is Michael Saylor doing, right? Short and sweet. He has a company called MicroStrategy. He is borrowing money as convertible bonds, notes. Again, the videos are in the back. Please go click them and then watch them after you watch me now. He's issuing debt and immediately going and buying Bitcoin. Okay. And then he's also doing something called ATM, at the market, offering shares, equity, right? Diluting the existing shareholders. And with that money, he's going and buying Bitcoin immediately. As of the last count, MicroStrategy holds 440,000 Bitcoin. It's not leveraged. It's not going to, there's no liquidation risk. Even Bitcoin goes down, and Bitcoin did go down. Okay. With this market sell off, it went from 107 to 92 this morning. Okay. And people are yelling, oh, Bitcoin is crashing. Bitcoin. I'm like, it's just 10% correction. Bitcoin is not crashing. But my question here is Michael Saylor's attempt to front running everyone, including the US government and the global governments, going to work? Because that's what he's doing. He's trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible before potentially the US government puts Bitcoin in their treasury as a treasury asset, because a lot of other companies are doing this now. They're following his lead. Small, medium, large companies. You know, he went talked to the Microsoft board. Microsoft said, nope, we're not going to put even $1 billion of our $100 billion in treasury bills into Bitcoin. Okay, he got rejected. No problem. But, you know, he's the front man in this. And I believe him for the fact that I've done a video, is he a gambler or is he a genius, right? I mean, he's a genius. He discovered the infinite money glitch on Wall Street. He has an existing company that's producing earnings to a point. But more than that, he's mortgaging everything that he can and going and buying Bitcoin before U.S. government comes and buys it, before Russia buys it. There's talk that a lot of Middle Eastern wealth funds are buying it. But somebody's selling, right? Because Bitcoin is not going anywhere if all this buying is happening. And there's BlackRock that's buying it through their ETF, right? So is Michael Saylor front running the U.S. government and the global government? I think he is. I think he knows what's going to happen. And what he's doing is, to me, look, front running is illegal in our stock world. Okay, we cannot front run. Meaning, if I'm a market maker and I know an order is coming, it's kind of illegal, but we used to do it all the time, right? I mean, you buy before the big buyer shows up, right? And then you sell it to them. So Michael Saylor says he's willing to advise Trump administration on crypto. I met with a lot of people, he said. I mean, he's really, really just like pushing this, right? And look, Trump, to nobody's surprise, he's crypto friendly. He just put Mr. Sachs in charge of AI and crypto czar as a crypto czar. He's very crypto friendly. There are a lot of people in Congress that are crypto friendly. And that's why we took the move that we took from 70,000 to 110,000 on Bitcoin on this last move up. So Michael Saylor definitely wants to front run the U.S. government, because if the U.S. government comes and buys Bitcoin, they're not going to buy 10 Bitcoin, right? They're going to buy probably 1 million Bitcoin, couple of $1 billion worth, or at least $10 billion worth, which is nothing for the U.S. government. But there is talk that this is going to happen, and there's talk that other governments around the globe are going to follow up. Why? Because the U.S. government is debasing the dollar. It's trash. It's trash. They're trashing it, right? So when that happens, what's a finite asset that could give you or protect you from the debasing of the currency? And according to Michael Saylor, is Bitcoin. And Michael Saylor, the CEO and chairman of MicroStrategy, could potentially be a part of President-elect Donald Trump's Crypto Advisory Council. In a December 18th interview with Bloomberg, Saylor said he's willing to serve as an advisor on cryptocurrency matters under the Trump administration. And look, he is pushing his book, just like everybody else does when they go on CNBC. What do? Oh, I'm buying this stock. I love Uber. I like this. I like that. They pitch their book. That's what Michael Saylor is doing. It's not illegal, right? You don't have to believe him. But I've clearly laid out what is happening with MicroStrategy, what is happening with the options, what is happening with the 2x ETFs that are wagging the dog at the moment, which is the tail. It's all in the channel. Just go click and watch, and you guys will for sure understand what is happening here. There's a massive game that's being played here. Okay. And Bitcoin adoption is not going anywhere, like it or not. And for all of you who are not believers in Bitcoin, you don't have to believe it. But personally speaking, I don't think Bitcoin should be traded. Bitcoin, not the altcoins, not the shit coins, none of that stuff. I just pay attention to Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin should not be traded as an asset. You should buy it and you should hold it, period. However, MicroStrategy is a proxy for Bitcoin, is a surrogate of Bitcoin, and it's a turbocharged version of it. And then they have these 2x ETFs off of MicroStrategy. The symbol is MSTU and MSTX. Those are supercharged versions of what MicroStrategy is doing. Meaning, if MicroStrategy goes up 10%, those things go up 20%. Those are also not to buy and hold, but then through options and what I did over the last 4 weeks, you guys can go check it on the YouTube page's community channel. The strategies that I'm deploying, that's kind of turning all these 2x ETFs into an ATM machine for me. And I'm doing it again this week. And when I post the positions at the end of the day, before 2 p.m. Pacific, you guys will go check it out. So yeah, Michael Saylor is definitely front running everybody. That's why he's in a rush. He said he's going to offer $42 billion, $21 billion in stock sales, and $21 billion in convertible notes. He did about $6 billion of the convertible notes, immediately bought Bitcoin. Out of the $21 billion, he's done $14 billion at the market sales, stock sales, and he's bought Bitcoin literally every weekend. Okay? The highest he paid, I think, was 102, right? He says he doesn't care where he buys Bitcoin. He's just going to keep buying Bitcoin. And this was a 3-year plan, by the way. So he's down to like 7 billion left with the, stock issuance. Literally, he comes and offers shares, and at the market, that's why it's called ATM, at the market. He sells the shares, immediately goes buys Bitcoin, right? And he slowed down the convertible note offerings and probably keeping some powder dry for next year. This was a 3-year plan. It's almost done. And his goal was by the end of 2025, he wants to get to 500,000 Bitcoin. I mean, he could. I don't see why not. And this weekend, he'll put another Twitter post. He puts up this chart with blue dots on it. He goes, up, there's a blue dot coming up. I'm like, okay, he must have bought more Bitcoin. He owns 440,000. MicroStrategy owns 440,000 Bitcoin at the moment, only to go higher.